There is something about winter that fascinates me. As a girl from a hot, humid land, snow feels mythical, almost unreal. I love the cold. It freezes the world into an endless, empty whiteness. Everything feels so pure, so pristine. It slows your mind, quiets your thoughts. The chill numbs your senses and isolates you from the relentless hum of the world. So, as I step into my second winter in this part of the world, I put on my warmest layers, grab my backpack, and head to the gateway to the Arctic, Tromsø, seeking the magic only the cold can bring. I was lucky to find a cheap direct flight from London to Tromsø. The sky was clear the whole way. The chances of seeing the northern lights tonight are very high. Out the window, I saw stars scattered across the sky. The anticipation was unreal. But as we landed, no lights just yet. Maybe it wasn't meant to be for this flight, but the night is long and the sky is clear. We're here! Welcome to country number 37. Welcome to Tromsø. No time to waste. Let's head straight for the chase. There's a theory in my photography circle on first-timer's luck. The first time you chase a natural phenomenon, it happens. But since it's your first time shooting it, your composition is imperfect and leaves much to be desired. You leave with ideas, techniques you wish you'd tried, and because you succeeded once, it keeps luring you back. You won't be as lucky next time, but the possibility keeps you chasing. On my first night in Tromsø, the northern lights were everything I dreamt of. But I didn't travel far, so the foreground wasn't too exciting, and my batteries died too soon. I wanted more. Day one sort of mission accomplished. I can't feel my fingers. Let's head back and regroup, and let's continue tomorrow. If you've been following my journey, you know I love hiking, but I had never walked through a true winter landscape before. So I joined a snowshoeing tour, letting the guide lead me somewhere unknown. Snowshoeing isn't too different from hiking, just a wider gait, a slower rhythm. But stepping onto fresh snow is something else entirely. The crunch beneath my feet, the softness of powder sinking just enough before lifting me again. It felt like floating, weightless above the earth. We moved further into the wild, the world growing quieter with every step. No roads, no crowds, just untouched snow stretching endlessly ahead. The cold air wrapped around us, crisp and still, carrying only the sound of our breath. Above us, the sky blushed pink, fading in the twilight. A short climb brought us to an atmosphere where the world seemed to open up. Below us, Ersfjord and Fjord stretched into the distance, their waters calm, their edges carved by time. No words prepare you for the sight of towering cliffs rising straight from the sea, their rugged faces dusted with snow. As the sky deepened into twilight, we began our descent. The wind softened as we moved lower, finding a sheltered spot to rest. Warm drinks in hand, we sat in the stillness, sharing food, stories, and quiet moments. The way back was effortless, half walking, half sliding down the snowy slopes. Before we knew it, we were back where we started, hearts full from the serendipity of the journey.
Sami guide today. I am Sami myself, and I'm from a reindeer herding family.
The Sami are indigenous people of Sapmi, a vast region stretching across Norway, Sweden, Finland, and Russia's Kola Peninsula. For centuries, they have lived in harmony with the Arctic, moving with the rhythm of seasons, following the great reindeer migrations. Their culture is woven into the land, the soft crunch of hooves on snow, the flicker of firelight inside lahu, the melodies of yoik, their ancient song tradition, carrying stories of ancestors, nature, and spirits. But history has not always been kind. With the rise of nation-states came borders that cut through their ancestral lands. Colonization, forced assimilation, and land dispossession followed. Their language was banned in schools, their traditions dismissed, their identity threatened. Yet they endured, and their connection to the land remains. Reindeer are creatures of the north, built for survival in the harshest of winters. With thick fur and wide-hooved feet, they move effortlessly across snow-covered landscapes. Both males and females grow antlers, one of the few deer species where this happens, while males shed theirs after the autumn rut. Females keep theirs through winter. They are nomads by nature, traveling vast distances across forests and mountains. Some herds migrate over 3,000 miles a year, making them one of the great wanderers of the animal kingdom. To the Sami, to the land, to the cold north itself, the reindeer are not just animals, they are a way of life. This little guy, he kept following me around and he just hit me in the eye. I don't have any food, man, I just got a camera with me. So my Northern Lights tour got cancelled tonight, not sure why. But it's only 2 and it's dark. Not really sure what to do with myself, so I went out for a photo walk. I usually do landscape photography, not street photography. But I really like the fact that whenever I don't know what to do with myself, my camera is always there for me. This wasn't my first time on a whale watching tour. I had been on one in Iceland before, but this ship was something else. Onboard Wi-Fi, a bar, a table and seat for everyone. It hinted at the kind of journey ahead, a long patient search for these elusive giants of the sea. The journey began in the early morning, when Tromsø was still quiet, wrapped in the lingering hush of dawn. Among the peaks that watched over us were the Lyngen Alps, jagged and magnificent. As we drifted through the fjords, the snow-dusted cliffs caught the first light of day, turning a soft, blushing pink. It was only days after the end of polar night, and each sunrise felt like a gift. The sun finally peaks above the mountain ridges, casting golden light over the water. Despite the sharp ocean breeze, warmth spread through me at the sight. Even before we saw a single whale, the cruise itself was already breathtaking. The stillness of the water, the crisp air, the way the mountains stretched endlessly into the distance. It took hours before we left the shelter of the fjords and entered open waters. The wait began. Passengers gathered on the deck, eyes scanning the horizon, hands gripping cameras, binoculars. No one spoke. Anticipation hung thick in the air. Then, suddenly, a plume of mist, a breath from below the surface. The boat slowed. Everyone froze. A humpback. It glided effortlessly, rising and falling with the rhythm of the sea. Its sheer sides humbling, its presence commanding. Silent awe swept over us. We pressed further into the open sea, and then more movement. This time sleek and fast, orcas. They cut through the waves with striking precision, their black and white forms gleaming under the fading sun. Their dorsal fins knifed through the surface, moving like shadows against the water. And then, as suddenly as they arrived, they slipped back into the depths, as if they had never been there at all. Back inside, exhaustion settled in, but a quiet contentment lingered. I wrapped my hands around a cup of hot chocolate, the warmth seeping into my fingers, a cinnamon bun in front of me, the soft hum of the boat, the gentle rocking of the sea. As we pulled into Tromsø's harbour, a sudden stir spread across the upper deck. Murmurs turned into hurried footsteps. Northern lights had already begun their dance. Once again, we rushed outside, the cold biting against our faces, but no one cared. Even against the glow of the city, the aurora shimmered vividly, swirling and shifting in the sky. Seeing it this bright with the naked eye, right here in town felt almost unreal. Kind of insane how I was having a quarter-life crisis at work a few days ago, and now here I am. I'm glad I brought along all these lessons now on this one tour. Okay, that was insane. Fingers crossed for the tour tonight. Despite having already seen the Northern Lights on my own and capturing some shots I was proud of, I wasn't satisfied. Now I wanted more, a better foreground, a new perspective. So I joined the tour, letting the road take me somewhere far, hoping to share the chase with others and witness their first reaction to the lights. Clouds are the greatest enemy this far north. I realized then how easily I had started taking the aurora for granted. But when the sky finally opened up and gasps of awe filled the silence, I was reminded this was magic. Still hungry for more, we drove even further north. The clouds thickened again, so we gathered around a crackling fire, warming our hands over bowls of hot food. Chasing a shared dream with strangers felt different. There was a quiet camaraderie in the waiting, in the longing. We stayed past midnight, and then finally, the sky broke open. The still waters of the lake mirrored ribbons of green and pink, the lights twirling in perfect reflection. I was obsessed with this moment, this frame, this fleeting beauty. Heart so full from all the wonder I had witnessed today. After days of chasing, of bracing against the cold and racing through the wilderness, I decided to slow down, to simply exist in Tromsø. The morning was slow as it should be. I wrapped up warm and stepped out into the crisp air, letting my feet lead the way. The city, still draped in blue hour, felt quiet, tranquil in a way only winter can be. I found a cafe tucked away from the main street, its window glowing softly against the cold. Inside, the warmth wrapped around me, the scent of coffee and cardamom thick in the air. I ordered something hot, took a seat by the window, and watched the world go by. Being cozy in the cold is easily one of life's simplest joys. Later, I wandered down to the harbor, where fishing boats bobbed gently on the ink-dark water. The cold stung my cheeks, but I welcomed it. There's something about the north that makes you want to lean into the elements rather than shy away. I ended up in a seafood shack, sharing a table with strangers who offered me some of the crab. We cracked shells and talked about nothing and everything. I carried on across the bridge, making my way towards the cable car. There's something about seeing a city from above. It shifts your perspective, makes everything feel smaller yet somehow more significant. As the afternoon deepened, the sky melted into blue hour. The city below flickered to life, street lights casting their glow against the cold. The way the deep blues blend into the warmth of the orange. It feels like a secret hour, where the world slows just enough to be truly seen. Blue hour faded by 4 p.m. and darkness settled in. The thick clouds above reflected the orange hue of the city lights. By this point, I had already witnessed some stunning northern lights, but I still craved that perfect shot, lights dancing above the city of Tromsø. When I first arrived, the cafe was packed, so I joined 2 guys from China at their table. They were eager to practice their English, and I hadn't spoken Mandarin in years. We shared whiskey, cakes and stories, celebrating Lunar New Year together. As the night wore on and the snow and wind outside picked up, the cafe slowly emptied. The conditions outside weren't ideal, but we waited together in the gnarly wind and freezing cold. It was clear that those of us who remained were all there for the same reason. Taking a break currently in this nice warm vestibule. We've been up here for hours now, still nothing. The clouds are really thick. I'm freezing. The last cable car down is at 12 midnight, so still got an hour to go. By then, about 30 of us were left. I struck up a conversation with a fellow Nikon user. Everyone there ended up chatting with each other. In those quiet moments, it wasn't just about the northern lights, it was about the connection, the shared pursuit of something greater than ourselves. Finally, at around 11 p.m., the clouds parted just enough. After 9 hours of waiting, I finally captured the shot I'd been dreaming of. As much as I loved the city of Tromsø and all the wholesome connections I had here, I longed for solitude, the kind only nature can offer. So I hopped on a bus, no real plan, just a quiet hope that it would take me somewhere beautiful. I ended up in Ersfjordbotn, a small village cradled between the very voids I had seen on my snowshoeing trip. In Tromsø, the warming weather had turned the ground slick with ice, but here, winter still held its grip. Snow blanketed everything once more, softening the world, making it feel untouched. I wandered aimlessly along the shoreline, breathing in the stillness. From this angle, the void stretched endlessly before me, its water disappearing into the horizon. It felt like standing at the edge of the world, where time moves slower, where silence carries its own kind of weight. Eventually, I found myself in the only cafe in the village, a small haven against the cold. I warmed my hands around a bowl of fish soup, steam curling into the air, a cappuccino by my side. I stayed until the sky deepened into twilight, the last light slipping behind the voids. Another chase was about to begin. A lot of chasing the northern lights is just waiting, standing somewhere exposed, the cold seeping into your bones, eyes fixed onto the sky. Out here, alone in the cold, it feels like my mind finally clears. There's something so cleansing about staring into the depths of space, watching the universe move, knowing I'm just a small part of something so vast. I'm not worrying about everything that needed to be sorted out back home. I'm not thinking about my future. It feels natural to have a camera in my hands, capturing the beauty this world offers. As I stand here, I'm struggling to give myself one good reason why I am heading back to night on-call shifts that gives me crippling anxiety, while here, I'm so at peace with myself. Maybe one day, I'll have all the answers, but right now, in this moment, under the skies, I'm right I'm supposed to be.